How's it hanging, everyone? Your favorite Blue Lock bootlicker Onyx is back to do another summary and review of the newest Blue Lock manga chapters. Today, I'll be reviewing Chapter 251 titled VIP Seat and Chapter 252 titled Best Performance. If you enjoy my summaries and reviews of the Blue Lock manga, make sure to subscribe, as it's one of the most effective ways of letting me know you guys like this kind of content. But regardless, without further ado, kick back, chillax, let's get into chapters. Chapter 251 picks up right where the last one left off, with Rin swiping the ball away from Kaiser right before Kaiser could get a shot off. Rin tells Kaiser, "Your shooting point is so predictable, Blue Rose. The field is my domain." Rin charges towards the bastard players, saying that he will destroy every last player on their team. We see Mensa and Birkenstock ready their defense, Birkenstock communicating to everyone else to watch out, while Hiori prepares himself for Rin's counter. We also get a small Kunigami cameo of him telling himself, "Destroy," supposedly implying that he wants to take down Rin. Rin responds by saying, "I'd like to see you try," before managing to get around Kunigami, Raichi, and Ness in what is called an occlusion break. We get Raichi's reaction, surprised at how much Rin has improved and how he's moving through the field all on his own. Similarly, Ness questions how Rin's abilities like his touch, speed, technique, and vision can all be so top-notch. Ness attempts to catch up to Rin. However, Charles and Tokimitsu join Rin in his attack, telling Rin that they're both wide open for a pass and are willing to join. Before Rin dishes out the ball, we see Nanase join Rin's side, telling Rin that he's also open and that he wants to be used. We then flash back all the way to before the Barja match, 15 days prior. We see Nanase begging Rin to make him Rin's disciple, to which Rin responds by saying, "Hell no. Beat it, scrub." Nanase then drops to the ground, grabbing Rin by the leg, begging Rin for help. Nanase admits that at this rate he won't ever get to play in the NEL, and his football career would be over, continuing to beg and plead with Rin. Rin admits to Nanase that his ball control, technique, passing, and shooting all suck, and that he doesn't see any worth in training Nanase, telling him once again to get lost. Nanase does one of the lowest bows I've possibly ever seen, and says that he'll let Rin do whatever he wants with Nanase, and that all he wants to do is to survive the Neo Egoist League, and that he'll do whatever it takes, even if it means sacrificing himself to Rin. While not stating it directly, Rin eventually agrees to Nanase's conditions and tells Nanase to obey his instructions during training and to run 3 times more than anyone. We get a little glimpse into all the training and the workouts Nanase has been doing, and shortly after we see Rin asking Nanase about what his dominant foot is. Nanase plainly answers, "I guess my right," to which Rin questions, "Who taught you that?" Nanase answers by admitting that no one ever told him that he was right-footed, but that he just naturally assumed he would be because he's also right-handed. Rin admits to Nanase that the quality of precision and control with his left foot is nearly on the same level as his right foot, despite it getting a very short span of time to be trained. Nanase, confused, asks Rin what he's implying, to which Rin replies that Nanase is actually naturally left-footed, before backtracking and saying that Nanase is beyond that, saying that since Nanase has been such a shit player, that he never even noticed that his body is actually ambidextrous. We cut back to the current moment, where Nanase is rethinking about what Rin taught him, and how he doesn't care if his play doesn't look graceful, but that using his ambidexterity, he wants to become a linchpin that helps Rin score. We see Rin pass the ball up to Nanase, who fends off both Mensa and Kiora. Nanase tells himself that if sacrificing himself leads to Rin's goals, that he'll gladly do it over and over again. While still holding off the 2 defenders, Nanase sends the ball up to Rin, who is now close to goal and passing by Birkenstock. Just when the ball reaches Rin's feet, Kaiser comes sliding in to try and stop him, telling Rin, "In your fucking dreams, shitty number 1. At the same time as this, Isagi comes in on Rin's right side to close off his shooting options, telling Rin, "Like you said, if you can't shoot, you're nothing." In the next panel, we see both Kaiser and Isagi's attempts at Rin fail, as he carries the ball out of harm's way. Rin tells Isagi that he's wrong, and that he can shoot, but he's just been waiting for Isagi to catch up to him. Rin raises the ball up with a touch, telling Isagi, "You'll have a front row seat to witness my ascension in becoming the world's number 1 player." Rin then picks Isagi up by the jersey with his right arm, giving Isagi his VIP seat as he takes a shot on goal. Before Rin's shot can find the back of the net, Hiori comes in with a ninja kick to deflect the ball up into the air, telling Rin and Isagi to quit having a max sesh on the field. Hiori tells Rin that if he wants to score, he'll have to come up with a better script that can't be predicted so easily, which ends Chapter 251. I really liked Rin's callback to the second selection 4v4, where Rin selects Isagi to join his team, making sure that Isagi will sit right beside him and watch as he becomes the world's number 1. I also love the fact that we get to see Rin absolutely violate both Isagi and Kaiser within the first 5 minutes of the match. While Rin may not have scored from his shot, I think a lot of people are underestimating just what it takes to pull off a move like that. I'm excited to see the full extent of Rin's abilities throughout the rest of the match, and not to mention that I'm also incredibly hyped to hopefully see more of Shidou now that Rin has sort of gotten his own debut chapter. But onto my favorite part of this chapter, Nanase's backstory / improvement. We met Nanase way back in the U20 match selection arc, and haven't gotten a lot of him since. Nanase being able to admit and own up to his own weakness and find a way to make the starting lineup still is an incredible arc to his character to me. I think giving someone like Nanase the ability of ambidexterity was a really cool decision, as it fits his character really well. While I'm not 100% confident that this guarantees Nanase's survival in the Neo Egoist League, I sure hope that this heavily increases his odds, as I'd love to see more of Nanase in the future. I also like how we're getting set up for Rin and Nanase versus Isagi and Hiori, and Shidou and Charles versus Kaiser and Ness. We're watching as arguably the 4 best strikers in the league battle it out with one another with their superior passing sidekicks. Overall, I'd rate this chapter as an 8.5 out of 10. But enough of chapter 251. Let's move on to chapter 252. Similarly to chapter 251, chapter 252 picks right up where the last chapter left off. We see the ball shooting into the air after Rin's shot was deflected by Hiori, and we see as everyone is utterly surprised at how Hiori was able to react to Rin's shot, as it seems it was going to be a sure goal had Hiori not stepped in. Thankfully, Isagi breaks down how Hiori was able to get into that position to stop Rin, essentially saying that because Hiori has such a good understanding of Isagi's playstyle, he knew that Isagi would end up losing to Rin, so instead of going after Rin, Hiori put himself into a position to stop Rin's shot. Isagi also notes that because everyone in the game is playing at their peak, they keep pushing each other to higher and higher levels, going as far as to say that this match is the greatest match he's ever played in. Just then, Karasu cuts Hiori off from the ball and traps it with his chest, telling Hiori that he believes he's gotten more aggressive since the last 2 met. Hiori asks Karasu if he's upset that Hiori's improving, to which Kasu responds by saying, "Nah, not in the slightest. Took you long enough, slowpoke." We see as Karasu then begins to bring the ball up the field again, Raichi and Isagi getting prepared to go back on the defensive. Isagi then pushes his metavision even further, trying to think of the best outcome that anyone on the field can produce so he can predict it and stop it. We get this incredible visual as the entire field turns into one big puzzle for Isagi, emphasizing just how hard Isagi is pushing himself. Just then, Karasu ends up sending a no-look backheel pass towards the back of the pitch. We get a shot of Coach Loki proclaiming, "That's it. Right now, everyone's hyper-focused on the situation in front of the goal. This is the perfect time." We cut back to Karasu and Hiori, where it is revealed that Karasu's pass was intended for Charles, who is now only a small distance behind Karasu. All the bastard players begin freaking out, realizing that they were too focused on what was happening around the goal, which allowed for Charles to break free and get loose. Charles winds up a precise pass heading in Rin's direction. However, once the ball reaches Rin and Isagi, the ball goes right over both of their heads, presumably heading for another target. Isagi notes that the pass has the perfect amount of backspin, and how he wasn't even thinking about a pass going 30 meters to somebody that wasn't Rin. Just then, Shidou breaks through, being left wide open on the left side of the pitch, sprinting down at full force. Isagi realizes that Shidou was the only one able to catch up to Charles' pass, questioning if this is a tactic that PXG had practiced beforehand. However, Isagi quickly realizes that this conclusion is just flat out wrong, as Shidou isn't even looking at the ball. Charles is also surprised that someone was able to react to his pass, with Shidou also being surprised at how the ball is coming at him exactly how he envisioned it. Isagi continues to question how the two were able to accomplish such an impressive feat, and comes to the conclusion that Charles and Shidou were acting reflexively, the same way Hiori and Isagi did at the end of the Ubers match. Shidou then hurls himself at the ball, making perfect contact for a header. Shidou's Dragon Aura engulfs the ball as it's sent past Gagamaru and into the back of the bastard goal. As Shidou scores his goal, Isagi comes to the conclusion that in order to win this match, he will need to consistently clash and cross his vision with the PXG team and continue to push and improve his idea of how to become the best in the world. This chapter unfortunately ends with Shidou and Charles excitedly celebrating their superstar goal. I've noticed that recently Shidou has been scoring a lot more headers, as he's obviously scored one in this match, and he's also scored another one in PXG's game against Barcha in the previous round. I'm not sure if the author is trying to imply that Shidou has learned to play much more reflexively, or if he thinks that Shidou's wild personality comes out better when he's scoring headers, but I really hope we can eventually get back to seeing Shidou scoring goals via powerhouse bicycle kicks, or any other kind of mind-boggling, freakishly athletic goal, as I feel like the Big Bang Drive is still one of the best goals in the series, despite being scored way back in the U20 match. I really liked how this match continues to incorporate lessons that were taught way back in the second selection, as I found that Isagi's explanation of how he managed to stop Rin's shot to be very similar to how Ego explained luck when Rin scored the final goal against Isagi's team in the second selection 4v4. I'm also really excited for the future of this match, more specifically because Isagi states that this match is the greatest match he's ever played in, implying that this match will be more exciting and beneficial to the players than the U20 match, which has arguably been the greatest game shown in the entire series. As I mentioned in my analysis of Chapter 251, I really enjoy how the striker and assist man dynamic is being set up with Isagi and Hiori, Shidou and Charles, Rin and Isagi, and Kaiser and Ness, as it provides a new take on how to make the characters aiming to play the striker position more competitive with one another while allowing for fan favorite characters to get more screen time. I hope Kunigami gets an assist man later in the match, as I really want to see him make a comeback in this game and prove his worth. A lot of people have been speculating that Hiori will side with Kunigami, and at this point I'd go crazy to see that, but overall I'd rate this chapter as a 9 out of 10.